Welcome to the Weekly Talkback. I'm Kevin Beers,
And I'm David Witten.
and this is the show where we get to talk to Pastor Dave about his message from the previous Sunday. This week was April 7th, 2024, and the name of the message was "Do You Love Me?" And uh, in this story, Dave, you recap or you went over the story of uh, the Easter events have happened. Peter doesn't know what to do with himself, so he says, "I'm going fishing."
Hmm.
And some of his buddies go with him, or some of the disciples, yeah, his disciples go with him, and they go fishing. And Jesus is on the beach making fish for them, and
Hmm.
the story progresses from there. What I really wanted to draw out of your message was this idea that if the resurrection was real, and as Christians we say we believe that,
Hmm.
but if it was real, then we need to live a different way if we truly believe that. Do you think well, actually, let's just go into what what was your thought process as you were putting it all together?
Well, I think the crux of Christianity rests on not the crucifixion, but rests on the resurrection. Because if Jesus had not rose from the dead, I don't think we'd have Christianity today. And so the crux, in my opinion, rests solely on the miraculous rising up from actual being dead to being alive. I mean, that's the thing that struck the early church. And so nowadays, with the all the scientific evidence and the medicine and all that we have today, I still feel like we're challenged to either truly believe that Jesus rose from the dead, or yeah, I don't know that he really rose from the dead. I don't really believe that. I mean, to me, the difference is if he truly rose from the dead, and you truly believe that, then this is God at work. Don't you think that your life ought to be a little bit different? Or you look at things in a little different way due to that fact? I mean, to me, it changes yeah, this is a good message. Yeah, Jesus was a good guy. Yeah, he taught some beautiful things. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. To this is God at work, and we should pay attention to it and listen to what God is having us hear.
Okay. Uh, yeah, did you? This is the question I was actually going to ask originally, but I'm glad we got it prefaced with all that. Do you think a lot of Christians in general don't really follow that? Like it's more of it's a good thing to know, but I'm kind of living my life in the situation I'm in, and or is it more of do you think more Christians are, I believe that, and therefore I live a completely different life than everyone else?
Well, I think it's a mixed bag. I don't think it's either or. I think it's a spectrum, but I do feel that those who um, well, this is subjective, and I might be wrong and not right off the cuff, but I think that those who truly believe that God reached in and altered the natural order of things to bring Jesus from death to life. I mean, if we truly believe that, then wouldn't that affect us in a different way? I mean, wouldn't we look at the whole story of Jesus in a more serious matter and consider it how it impacts us? Um, wouldn't we take that more seriously than if it's like, oh, well, yeah, maybe so, but I kind of doubt it, or, scientific evidence could prove otherwise. Um, I mean, to me, it kind of changes the way I would behave. I mean, if I truly didn't believe it, then I wouldn't take it as seriously, would I? I mean, I'm asking you.
I'm the one that asked the question, so um, no, I think you're right about that. It's how, I mean, how do you approach life? Like, we talked about my COVID experience and being to the point of death, and essentially. Uh, but when I came back from that experience, I look at life a completely different way, and the idea of Jesus dying and then God raising him from the dead, like I take it more seriously now
Mm.
because not that I had died and come back, that did not happen, nor was I conscious for any of what was going on.
Right.
But the understanding that, the amount of hope that I have because of the experience I went through, and then relate it back to, you know, the fact that if God isn't what I went through gave me the understanding of how much God is in control.
Hmm.
And then I mean, I've always said that, but then I experienced something that completely out of my control, actually completely out of the doctor's control too. It was up to God what was going to happen in the end.
Yeah.
But understanding that and then looking at your life like, God can create everything, which he did, and he can take everything away. And that power, that God's, I got to live my life differently because in that understanding,
Hmm.
that's who I want to serve. That's who I want to worship. It's, and he wants to have a relationship with me at the same time. How do I act in that relationship? So I know I'm stuttering a lot here because it, 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 a lot of this goes beyond words for me.
Yeah. Yeah. And of course, anything you describe that is of God is going to have that edge of mystery to it. And it is hard to articulate some of those things. I guess my point in yesterday is that um, we can give lip service to all kinds of things, but if we don't really believe it in our heart that what happened, according to the accounts in the Bible, truly happened, then it wouldn't mean that much to us. But if we truly believe that it happened as it's recorded, I would just think that would flip us upside down and inside out, and we'd have to reevaluate everything about our life because indeed God is in control, and indeed God's power is there, as evidence in the resurrection. But that power is also available to us. I mean, you would think we would have to evaluate everything about our life and move forward with that kind of faith.
Yeah. I One of the things when I read through your sermon prior to Sunday morning was the I thought it was a really powerful message. I mean, because if you take this seriously, which you should, it really does. You do have to reevaluate everything you do, everything you've ever done, perhaps, and how are you going to move forward?
Hmm.
It made me think quite a bit. It's only,
Mm.
a couple days or whatever,
Yeah,
but it's one
yeah.
of those things like it's been stuck with me because it it hit it hit a chord with me, I guess.
Wow. Well, wonderful.
You know,
Y-
I mean,
it-
your messages always make me think. So,
well, thank you for that. To me, if the message of the resurrection is not transformational, then it's kind of lost its point. I mean, then it's kind of like irrelevant. But if it really does transform you, then the power of the resurrection is indeed there available for you. And I guess, going back to the whole statement of if you believe in your heart that Jesus rose from the dead, you will be saved. I mean, to me, that's kind of essential in the Christian faith.
mhm. Yeah, absolutely. I Just one last question here. Why is it that when we're first saved, we have this spiritual high that goes on. And we eventually, I don't want to say we lose it or that it goes stale, but it becomes commonplace. And I think maybe it's a human thing, but once it becomes commonplace for us, it doesn't affect us like it did in the beginning. In the beginning, we're almost like radical
Mhm.
with our faith, and then over time, it's like, yeah, it's just the way it is. Like it becomes a mundane
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah, that's a good question, and I know that all of us struggle with that from time to time. I mean, we want that spiritual assurance that indeed what we believe is real, and we did receive that. I mean, I received that in my own born again experience. I received just a tremendous affirmation that what is recorded in the Bible is true. And it changed my life. And it gave me a high. I mean, it just brought tears to my eyes every time I thought about it. I was so grateful for the power of the message and so on. It did wane for me over time, but there are occasions that I have been reaffirmed, maybe not quite so powerfully as the first time. But I pray that those tidbits of spiritual affirmation along my journey is enough for me to carry on, um, and to hold true to what I believe.
Okay. Well, we will wrap it up there. Uh, if you have not heard the entire message, I'll link it down in the description. You can go listen to it there. And we will see you next week.
Very good. Be blessed.